It's the month of Adar. It's the time to get full of joy. It is a special month crowned with, of course, Purim. Here, Purim is a real celebration. I'm sure everywhere it is. We celebrate it, as we say, in fine fashion. Anybody going to be in Montreal? Chabad Zichron Kadeshim, Chazak. It's a place to be. And if you're from out of town, you want to come join, let me know. We'd love to have you. Especially that you're avid Tanya learners, day in, day out. Welcome to Tanya Today. And we welcome Luz in Tennessee, Boker Tov. Andrew's in New Jersey. Thank you for joining. Clem in Brisbane, where it's very late in Australia. Michael, good afternoon to you in Germany. John, shalom in North Carolina. We have Rabbi with us in Morocco. And Elise is in West Virginia. Boker Tov. Leah, joining us in Florida. Simcha's also in Florida. Rina's in Colorado, joining us. Boker Tov. We have Liba and Davida, New Yorkers. A joyous month. Absolutely. David is in California. Shalom. Who else is with us? Daphne having a terrific Thursday in South Carolina. We have Margot in Belgium has joined us. Mark in Santa Rosa. Julia is with us in Pennsylvania. Diane in Arizona. Who else? Jerry from Texas. Welcome, Jerry. Clubhousers, we have Vilma, we have Jenna, Celeste, Michael, Mia, Winston, Terry. We have Instagrammers. Akoy is in Peru with us. Marlene in Florida. Emmett, not certain where. Devorah's joined us. Chayasara. Alice is in Baltimore. Good morning. Chayasara is in Amsterdam. Shalom. We have Tehila with us. Rachel in South Carolina. Austin, Texas is Emmett. Bella, remind me, Bella, where you're from. Kenta Televenta. We have Rafael in New York. Beautiful. Beautiful. Jackie in Charlotte, North Carolina. June is in Australia with us, where it's very late. We have Eugenia in Calgary. Welcome. Renilo, I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, in Azerbaijan. Jeff is back in Naples, Florida for a super sunny day. Excuse me, just have a couple of sniffles. All right. We all have challenges. We all have a darkness in us. How do we look at our darkness? How do we look at those things that just seem to bring us down? What's the perspective of it? Of course, challenges are meant to overcome. The darkness is in order to introduce greater light. We understand that. But that's looking at the light to overcome the darkness. That's understanding that the challenge I need to hurdle. But how do I look at the darkness? How do I look at the hurdle itself? What's my perspective of that? How do I view it? That's key. And the Alter Rebbe gives us insight into that. By humbling our spirit, by having a conversation with ourselves, having the rage towards ourselves, never rage to another. But to humble the negativity inside of me, that I can rage at that Sitra Acher, the other side, the animal soul that is covering up over the light of my divine soul. So yes, bring it down, humble it. But the truth is, what are we humbling? Something that is of no substance whatever. And that's why it's called Sitra Acher, the other side. It doesn't even have like a real name. Holiness that comes straight from God is holy, powerful. But the opposite of that, negativity, the darkness, no. That's why it's compared to darkness, because darkness is really no substance of itself. And it's automatically banished in the presence of light. It seems like this darkness inside of me is full of vitality, right? After all, this force of klipa animates the world, right? But as we have learned many times, this vitality that animates everything in the world that comes from klipa is no vitality of its own. It's not a force, a separate force from God. It stems from God and His holiness. That's why in the presence of light, it becomes nullified. The presence of God's light, darkness is nullified, just as in the presence of physical light, darkness is no longer. So here's the key. How do you look at the challenge? How do you look at your darkness? In his vitality is coming from God. From Klipa, that's true, but coming from God. And the only reason God is giving it any form of vitality, any capability to rise up and to arouse the person to be taken by, whether it's that temptation, whether that, whatever negative thing that is against the divine order, divine will. It's only given the power to do that so I could overcome it, that I could bring it into submission, humble the negativity from within. So the only power it has is from God, that negativity within me. And the only reason it's given that power is not because it's a formidable force of its own, not because it has any substance of its own, nothing. It is totally nothing. And therefore, when I'm aroused by that notion from within, and I deal with that negativity, then that creates an arousal from above, that we're given the power to dominate and to overcome through the holiness of our divine soul, and automatically nullify that negativity, that darkness, that it's no longer. And this is very important because on an emotional level, we feel the draw to something, the desire, the lust, the addiction, so powerful that it's got its grip on me. But when we meditate upon it and we recognize, no, it's of no substance. It's not a true reality. It's only God that's giving it a power to give me the image or the false impression that it's really something. So it's only rearing its ugly head in order that I can overcome it. That's the only. It has no substance whatsoever of its own. And that's why it's compared to darkness. And the moment I choose the light of my soul, divine soul, we bring down automatically that negativity. And this is explicitly told in the story of the Torah with the spies, the 12 spies that went into Israel in order to find out how to conquer the land. And they, coming back after scouting the land, the Holy Land, they came back and said that the enemy is stronger than us. And as our sages infer from there, that the enemy is stronger than God. Meaning they lost their faith in God and the ability for him to lead the Jewish people into the Holy Land. But right afterwards, they reversed themselves and they announced, we are ready to go up and conquer the land. Why the change? What happened? First, they didn't have faith in God that he would be able to return them to the land. All of a sudden, they changed their tune. And it wasn't that Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, showed them some miracle or a sign from heaven that, we will be victorious over the nations in the land of Israel, Canaan. Not at all. Merely, Moses told the people that God is very angry with you. And he swore not to take you into the land. He's not going to take you into the land. So, if you don't believe in something, God being angry and upset with you, what does it help? Okay, so he's not going to take us in the land. We don't want to go in the land because we know we're not going to we don't believe that God has the power to defeat the nations in the land of Canaan, in the Holy Land. So, what's the difference that God is upset? So the explanation is simple. The Israelites themselves are maminim b'nei maminim. They're believers, descendants of believers. In other words, belief is instilled in the very divine soul given by God. And therefore, it's there. But what happened? The Sitra Acher, the negative side of the individual that is in the animal soul, had risen against the light of the holiness of the divine soul. And how did it rise itself up? With arrogance. Excuse me. With arrogance. Right? Arrogance that God is not capable of winning the battle for us. But when God gets angry, right? And as we learned previously, when we are raging against our own negativity, so here God is raging against their negativity, what does that do to the negativity? What does it do to that lack of belief that is stemming from the animal soul? It humbles it. It humbles it. Because all along they believe in God, because the soul believes in God, because it's a part of God. It just couldn't express itself. Because the Sitra Achra, the darkness, took over and didn't allow it to be expressed. But once they were released from the dominion of the Sitra Achra, of the animal soul, they said, we will readily go up. They didn't need a miracle to prove anything. It was only that the negativity of the Sitra Achra its arrogance was humbled. And now the darkness was removed, the light is shining. Was accomplished because God was raging, upset with them. This teaches you and I that when we recognize that the negativity that we have is really of no substance, the real substance of me is my divine soul. And the truth of it, that it's bound up with God. So when I rage against that negativity, as explained, this needs to be done with proper guidance. TRC is a great place for that guidance. It's today 4:30. Come and join us for the Tanya Rabbi community. If you need more information, private message me. Or go to tanyarabbi.com/TRC. So when the light of our divine soul is revealed because we have vanished, brought down, humbled the negativity through that rage that we spoke about, that we speak to ourselves in a manner of looking at that negativity and seeing that it's really nothing. It is of no substance. It makes itself appear as if it's very real, but it isn't. Then when we do that, there's no doubt that our true connection and faith in God will be revealed. Right? As a result. Because again, very important, this negativity from within is only granted permission to, as we say, dray a cup, to twist your head, to make it feel like it's real, it's the truth, it's my truth, because that's what I emotionally am feeling at this moment. No, it's not your truth. Your truth is that of the neshama, of the divine soul. And this is the animal soul that is just rearing its ugly head in order to confuse you and feel that the darkness is illuminating. No. When we recognize that it's darkness, where it's coming from, then we can get rid of it. Again, it only has its permission to do this in order to bring you to greater heights. And concludes the Alter Rebbe with a metaphor from the Zohar of a harlot that is hired by the king to seduce the crown prince, the king's son, through falsehood and deceit. And this is all done with the king's approval. So the king is God, the harlot is the animal soul within us, and the king is giving approval for the animal soul to be deceitful, to seduce us. But in the end, the harlot herself, knowing the king's true intention, doesn't want the prince to be tempted, even though she has to put on all of her wares and to do her job properly. So likewise, the Sitra Acher, as it is the spiritual klipa, recognizes the purpose of this. But that's the spiritual klipa. Within me, the klipa within me, the animal soul within me, is in the following metaphor. The king hires a harlot, she hires a harlot, she hires another harlot, till finally, whatever it is down the line, a harlot that is the animal soul within me, as it devolves that negativity within me, doesn't know about the king, doesn't know about the purpose, and all it wants is what it wants. It wants its comfort, it wants its self-fulfillment, it wants self-directed, things in life. Excuse me. So it doesn't know. So the animal soul within me is no longer aware of God's ultimate purpose that is hired, the first harlot who was hired by the king. But she hires another and another until it goes down. As the soul comes down into a body, that part of me isn't aware of its greater purpose. And therefore, it's just working hard overtime to bring me, to tempt me, to sway me, to think that the darkness is real, that the challenge is real, that negativity has something to it. It isn't. We recognize, as we just learned, then we can overcome everything we need to overcome. Extremely powerful teaching every day, day in, day out. Any questions, any comments? 2 question marks before you ask a question. I'm looking for someone who wants to help me with the daily classes, who is good on social media and also good with putting a thumbnail. Someone can make a thumbnail for the daily class. Can also, excuse me, a thumbnail can take a minute from the everyday's class and put it up separately. If there's someone who is good at that, okay, please contact me. I could use your help. But it needs to someone who's constantly here, so they're watching the class and then looking out for what, that 30-second powerful statement that we could just put it out on its own, has a value of its own, or even the whole thing and just put a thumbnail so it will get greater traffic. Because what we're learning here is life altering, as I've heard from so many of you. So many. It's a shame that it's not, we're not growing. We need to grow. We need to make this into something that is not touching right now 38 people on Facebook, 13 people on Instagram, and 11 people on Clubhouse, even though that's amazing. And each one of you is Olam Male, is a complete universe, and it's sufficient for one person, all of this. But of course, we can reach out to more people. So, I need your help with that. Oh, Rachel on Instagram says, thank you for the great teachings. It's been a full year since she came to the teachings of Tanya. An absolutely bright light and a hope to my life. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, that's great, Elise. Thank you for sharing the videos every day. And whoever can share, that's also an amazing thing. But from the daily class, if there's a way to, we need to get it out there even more. Okay, and social media. If someone's good with social media, contact me. Might even be a position. Okay. 4:30 TRC. Coming up in a few moments will be Rambam. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zecher Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you. Tanya, but I see I missed a couple of questions. So can Amuna be Bella, is asking, by an example of humbling the negativity, or Amuna can be a result of humbling the negativity, or both? No, Amuna is Amuna. Amuna is something that is a part and parcel of the soul because it's part of God, the soul. So therefore, it has full faith in God. Right, that's what Amuna is. More on that another time. Alice, do we always need the challenge to be closer to Hashem? If we're not challenged, the nature of the human being is to be sedated, to be lazy, to sit back, to find pleasure, and not to work hard. So God gives us a challenge. Thank you. Have a great day.